Das Green Old Deal by Nikisha Melvin, Helen Stix, Jenna Hanks, and Zach Daughtry. MBA 505 Mini Case Study.
The Renewable Energy Act was enacted in Germany in the early 2000s. This act was created to kickstart the transition away from fossil fuels or nuclear power and instead develop a market for renewable energy. There was a growing interest in Germany to address climate change and to actively take steps towards creating more efficient energy sources. The key concept of this act was for the feed-in tariff to provide an incentive to increase the production of renewable energy. The cost of electricity was increased for all families and corporations using traditional energy sources. The government then used this surcharge to provide a guaranteed price for a set amount of years back to homeowners who were willing and able to generate their own power and to sell it back to the power grid. In order to generate their own power, homeowners would need to install solar panels, wind turbines, or some green energy generator. At the time, these installs could cost the equivalent of $80,000 in today's currency. Families with the ability to pay the initial costs would eventually be able to recoup the costs and benefit from the income produced from the renewable energy. Families not able to convert to renewable energy were faced with increasing electricity costs. According to Reuters, renewable energy accounted for over 40% of the electricity produced in Germany for 2018. Since the Renewable Energy Act was implemented, this marked the first year where green energy was the primary source of energy for Germany.
Nikisha, thank you for that overview. Now let's get into some economics. At the heart of the issue in Germany, which created the need for the feed-in tariff, is market efficiency, or in this particular case, market inefficiency. See, given the pollution created in the process of generating electricity, Germany's electricity market was experiencing market failure. The short and long-term societal costs associated with pollution are essentially unknown to the electricity market and cause market failure. Pollution is a negative externality, and negative externalities occur when the actions of one party impose costs on an independent third party. In actuality, if the market could account for the additional costs or negative externalities generated by the pollution, the marginal cost curve would shift left, and market equilibrium would be achieved at a higher price and lower quantity, indicated by P star and Q star. Negative externalities cause market quantity, shown at Q1, to be higher than what is socially optimal. So how do we get the electricity market to the correct market equilibrium? Well, Jen is here to tell us.
Tax, tariff, and deadweight loss. The feed-in tariff taxes consumers who use electricity in the conventional way. The feed-in tariff acts as a subsidy to encourage consumers to invest in solar energy. With the feed-in tariff, everyone is charged for using electricity. The government pays a premium for electricity that is produced by solar panels. The people with the personal solar panels make money, while the people without the personal solar panels are charged more for electricity use and may be forced to cut back. The extra charge for traditional electricity use is how the people with solar panels are able to make more money. The deadweight loss is consumers who are not willing to pay or cannot afford to pay higher costs for traditional electricity. This could be renters or Germans with little to no disposable income. This would be Sunday and Dolores. So here we have our supply and demand curve and our equilibrium at P and Q star. So here you can see the consumer surplus and producer surplus, and the consumers are winning in the traditional electricity market. And when you add in the tariff, the supply curve shifts upward and we get a new equilibrium at P2 and Q2. With the upward shift in the supply curve, consumers are now only going to have Block A. Consumers are going to lose blocks B and C to producer surplus, and they're going to lose block D to deadweight loss. Producers are going to gain blocks B and C to add to E and F to make their total surplus blocks B, C, E, and F, while they are going to lose block G to deadweight loss. And deadweight loss is going to become blocks D and G. Block D from originally consumer surplus and block G from producer surplus. So to recap, block A is going to be consumer surplus, blocks B, C, E, and F will be producer surplus, and blocks D and G will be deadweight loss.
Since the implementation of the feed-in tariffs in the early 2000s, Germany's market share for renewable energy in the energy sector grew from 7% to 35% over the 20-year span. However, the 20-year subsidies granted to those who invested in renewable energy is set to expire at the end of 2020. With this, Germans in the private sector and private citizens will no longer receive incentives for investing in solar energy or wind energy or any other renewable energy. And in 2020, Germany announced that they will not be able to phase out coal as quickly as it promised with its 2020 greenhouse gas reductions. As of right now, coal in the form of hard coal and lignite is still 35% of Germany's energy sector. If Germany wants to increase its solar and wind output or energy output, it will need to invest 3.8 trillion, which is almost 7 times more than what they projected to invest between 2000 and 2025. Thanks to the subsidies from the feed-in tariffs, millions of German households installed solar panels on their roofs in order to take advantage of the extra income that these generated. The pictures below are from my trip to Germany with my company in September of 2019. As you can see, about every other household in this village had solar panels on their roofs, which really shows that a lot of households took advantage of this. What's ahead? With the subsidies from the feed-in tariffs coming to an end, the German government is now offering competitive bids for renewable energy products, which helps drive down cost. Citizen-owned cooperatives are arguing that they cannot compete with these lower costs from private organizations. However, in 2018, the cost from solar and wind prices dropped to 5 euro cents per kilowatt hour, which puts them right on target with fossil fuel generated power. Because of these lower prices, energy created by wind turbines and wind farms off the coast are being hailed as zero subsidy because they do not need the German government to prop them up. As the market develops and more green companies grow in size, we can expect to be able to keep up with the fossil fuel industry and potentially overtake their market shares.